Hey, welcome back to Cam's Classics. Today we're going to be working on the engine again. We got to get it tore down so we can see. Looking back here at the freeze plug, one of the plugs, the camshaft plug, it looks like it's been rebuilt at some point. We don't know. Again, the car was running when we bought it. We haven't touched it, so we don't really know. We do know it needs rebuilt. We did run the numbers. It is a 74 302, probably the worst year of car engines. They were detuned for the gas shortages, the oil embargoes and stuff, and on top of that, all of the emission stuff. So probably one of the weakest engines they built. So we're going to rebuild it. We're looking at a few different ways. We're gonna first we got to see what we actually have, and then we'll go from there on what we're going to do on the rebuild. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to tear these hoses off so we can start tearing the engine down to the bare block. We basically just have to get the top end off so we can measure the bore, and then we'll be able to go from there. A few hose clamps, get this hose off. Pliers. So this is one way to get hoses off, is once you can get them to twist, they'll pop right off. So like I said, we're replacing all these anyway, so no big deal. We want to kind of keep this all together so we can clean it up. Let's go ahead and get this lower hose off as well, and we'll get going from there. Basically, we got to get it down to the block so we can see what the bore is, see if it's ever been bored to a bigger, 3.0 oversized. But yeah, we're gonna probably end up replacing most of this. We'll see what he wants to keep as far as original appearance and stuff. If he wants to keep these valve covers, we'll get them cleaned up. I'm gonna kind of recommend we do a dress-up kit, but we'll see what the owner wants to do. Just keep the bolts with it. Use our Milwaukee tools. Got to get a little bit of a screwdriver to pop the corner free, and then it'll come off. And if you get all the bolts out. There we go. And wonderful cork gaskets. In with those. Nice trash receptacle. That's where they belong. Just gonna kind of be jumping back and forth on each side because we gotta get this off so we can get the intake manifold off. Basically, we just gotta get both heads off is the end goal. We won't go probably, in our video, we won't go to the oil pan. Unless we'll see where we're at. See how long it takes us to get there. See, those are just deteriorated basically to nothing. So definitely replacing these. It was the right size, but it was loose. Out, but okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a break and we'll come back to you. Okay, we're back. We had a few visitors, so we had to visit with them for a few minutes. We're ready to get back to this. We can get this to break free. These are always kind of difficult because it's finding a place that you can get on them. Because it takes just a little bit of to pry them off. Especially when they've been on here for a few years. As this one has been. So I'm going to grab my other bar that's made for hammering and a bigger hammer. So I have these other ones, they have a metal end on them. As you can see, they're made to be hammered on. That one was not, so. Right tool for the job is what you need. We're not concerned because we're gonna probably go fuel injection. If not, we're gonna at least do a 4-barrel carburetor instead of the little 2-barrel that was on it, so. free, a little free now. As well as we'll go to aluminum because this thing is heavy. These off. Okay, at this point you have two options. Fords are a little different. Chevrolet puts their bolts right in between these, so you have to remove the arms. This looks like we're not going to have to do that. We usually do need just a little bit more torque. So we're going to use our big guy here and we'll be right. Alright, kind of got these all over. That one isn't the right one. Let me find the right one real quick. Looks like 11/16 is our winner. So we're not really going to reuse any of this. I know we're doing a top end kit on it. We do need to kind of save the rods, but we'll just take that off carefully. I am taking these, if I can find it, I got a bucket right here. I'm getting all my engine bolts in. Most likely we'll get new ones from ARP. They're just a quality product and I like them. And these are going to be heavy too. They're probably the original steel Ford ones. Most likely we'll be going to a aluminum. See, a little fluid come out. That's a little oil and a little energy. Notice I'm standing the heads on end. If you're storing heads for any length of time, that is the way to store them. Otherwise they can warp. You definitely do not want that. Okay.
Don't need to take them out, do you?
Yeah. We're gonna tear it all the way down. May as well. It's gonna be there anyway. We need a little more torque than that has, so.
I don't think you want to take this off. That's getting into the impeller.
It's going to take the water pump off.
If you pull this and these, you take the whole water pump off rather than parts.
You can't get to those though. Until you take this off. Don't think. So, this needs to come off. This looks like it's all one housing. So the whole water pump assembly, timing belt covers all one. So we have to get this off. But before we do that, I want to, now we should be able to turn by hand. Maybe not. Probably could if I could get on it. Okay. What I was doing there is I was getting it so I can use my calipers. Zero it. And we need inches. 404. 404. 405. 405. So it looks like we are going to the machine shop. So standard on these is 4, so if we're 404, it's been bored out 40 thousandths. So probably going to the machine shop. Unless when we get it apart, if we can hone it, we may just do that, but we won't know for sure. As long as we don't have any major digs or anything in it, we can do that. That is the important one not to lose. See what we got here. I'm gonna have to find the tool, so let us come back to you in a few minutes. Okay, so what we got here, it's called a harmonic balancer removal installation tool. I'm just putting the end in it. And this goes that way. You just want to make sure this goes in square. And that bottomed out. There's our 5/8. And you gotta get a wrench to hold that. It's bigger than that. Get my big wrench drawer. Big wrenches. See, that just pulls that right out. That is the proper way to do it. You set that aside so we can keep going, because we don't need any of those tools. Back to our half and finish pulling bolts here. And of course we got to change them. Just makes it hard to get into. One difficult to get to. You have to get it with a ratchet and socket. Just get over here. I can find it faster. Okay. So these two oil pan bolts have to come out first. Let me just see if we can get up on those. Again, never done a Ford. but internal combustion engine, they're basically all the same. Yeah, there's another one. Why wouldn't they be the same? That is one thing I like about Chevy. You can build their engine with about 4 different sockets. But they do the same thing. There's usually 2 on a Chevy that are actually 4, the 2 back ones and the 2 front ones that are different. Okay, so pull that guy. And we'll do one more thing on the top, then we'll have to take a little break and come back to you because we got all these coolants to drain. Okay, so this part is important, but maybe not for us. What this is this is what your fuel pump rides on. We'll most likely, even if we do a carburetor, go to an electric fuel pump. I just like them so much more. Better than the manual, but you do actually have to put that back on because it also acts as a spacer. And since we're going to rebuild this, I'm not worried about lining up the timings. And same thing here. Spacer. Okay, so the last task, I do got to get one more tool because we do want to pull this out. But let me grab a tool. Okay, so if you want to come look, these are what they call hydraulic lifters. You'll notice there's a little spring catch in there. With one of these pick tools, you can grab them. Or by that spring, get them up to where you can grab them. And pull them out. So you have to pull these out before you pull the camshaft. Not sure what's in here. We'll figure that out another day. So there's a few different ones. These are what's called a hydraulic lifter. If you'll notice, there's a little hole in there. So this pumps oil into it. When you put these in, you have to basically set them in oil, take an old push rod and pump them until they fill with oil. Otherwise, they'll just compress when you go to set your preload on your valve pieces, your rocker arms. So you have to pump those up with oil. The other style is that look the same, other than they don't have the little gap in there for the oiling. They're called a solid lifter, and they're just a solid chunk of metal. There's no hydraulics, so they have little to no give to them. They're a great lifter, but you have to have exactness when you put them in there. Otherwise, you don't get a little bit of play in them like you do with those. The others are rollers. That's what's in your more modern engine. They have little ball bearings on the end that roll on there. A lot less friction and a lot more work. So when you set those, they kind of move around and it's a pain in the butt. So I've never done one of those type. But the other thing we're going to do, we'll pull the camshaft out. This is the camshaft. But we need to, as you can see here, we're up to the top of coolant. So when we flip that, to pull the oil pan off so that we can pull this out, pull the pistons out. That's going to leak all over. So we'll go ahead and get these pulled, pull the camshaft. Okay, our camera shut off, so I didn't get to finish. What we're going to do, we pulled the cover off here, we'll pull the camshaft out. It doesn't look bad, it looks pretty good, but we're probably going to use a rebuild kit, top end kit. I'm looking at a couple from Edelbrock. That's the timing chain, camshaft, lifters, heads, intake. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards. That can give us anywhere from about 321 horsepower to 367 with a 9.5 to 1 compression. I think I'm going to try and step this up to about 975. That'll give us a little bit more power. Granted, it's a light car that doesn't need a lot, but if we're doing it, we may as well do it. Nobody's ever complained about having too much power. So we're ready to flip it over, but we're going to have a mess if we don't catch this. So we're going to kind of have to drain it as we go. And Dad's on the camera, I'm going to need his help. So we'll come back to you when we get it ready to flip over. We'll be ready to pull the pistons out. As you can see, we do have a little bit of a mess. We threw the sawdust down. We knew where it's going to happen. We're ready to take this oil pan off though. So Ford did kind of over-engineer this, it looks like. There are a lot of bolts in this. That's good though. Might help it to not leak. Okay, so there's your internals. A lot of sludge in the bottom of that. We figured there would be just because the engine sat for a long time. We can see there are, don't know if I can get you to this. Oh, you might can see this one. So as you can see, they've been stamped. So that is 2 6s. That's because the 2 halves have to go back together. Doesn't necessarily mean they have to be in that order. It's just these 2 pieces have to be together to be right. So we'll go ahead and pull our oil here. And that one's one's a difficult one to get to. So we haven't picked up our tools from the other day, so they're still over here. That's my foot, so we're good. Swap out the gloves because I think those ones are getting so oily I can't grab my tools. And grab one of these other buckets. Rubber gloves are hard to put on when your hands are sweaty. Well, we'll get it. See if this will do them. I want these separate so that I can put them back on when we get these out. Okay, so it's going to be more of this. We'll get this and I'll show you. Let me pull this one and we'll show you real quick this. And just take this and kind of work that up. As you can see, this is our bearing. Got a little wear on it. So we might look at a bottom end kit. The other options to have this turned, we'll see what our options are, but then I'll show you one more real quick. So when you have studs like this and you're putting them out, you have to hold those. You don't want those threads to run against your crankshaft here. So I'm just kind of holding those till I get it past. I'm now going to switch to just this side, so I can kind of, as I'm hammering this, we're about ready to lose our piston. So let that drop down now. And there's our piston out. So as you can see, they have been redone. Those are not factory, but that's what we're gonna do, and then pull these bolts and pull our crankshaft out. But that's all we got. That'll have our engine apart. We'll be able to build this parts list, see what we want to do with the owner. And thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.